Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 4th June 2021. In this video, we'll be discussing this couple of issues. Strong policies on black carbon can sharply cut the glacier melt. This is about a World Bank study about the impact of black carbon on glaciers. Ever since the question on cryosphere popped up a couple of years ago in UPSC mains, there has been an emphasis in academic circles about the growing importance of the issue. So, black carbon particles emitted by the vehicular exhaust and coal-fired power plants. So, this has been a contentious issue for quite a while now. Since the last couple of years, many journals have been citing this problem, and it has been detected on certain fetus facing side of the placenta as well. This was a very big news. So this possibly is expected to affect the overall development of the unborn baby, and that became a huge controversy. This is because 90% of the world's population lives in places where air pollution is above the World Health Organization's standards. In these scenarios, how are we going to actually? Even there are certain institutions in the Himalayan region, for example, the Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology. This concentration of black carbon on the Gangotri Glacier, according to their study, has actually doubled in the past few years. And one of the major reasons for this is the agricultural burning. This same reason is also considered the problematic issue in the case of Delhi's smog as well. But before we can understand the impact of this, what exactly is this black carbon? It is a kind of an aerosol. Aerosol means a suspension of fine solid particles. So it is not a gas. Please remember this point. Among aerosols, you have black carbon, brown carbon, even sulfates are also there. But black carbon has been recognized as the second most important anthropogenic agent, that is man-made agent for climate change. And it is also the primary marker to understand the adverse effects caused by air pollution. How? Because it will actually absorb the heat in the atmosphere and cause the glacier to melt. It gets emitted from gas and diesel engines, coal-fired power plants, like we have discussed, and other sources that burn fossil fuels. So there is also a seasonal variation aspect associated with this. The concentration of the black carbon increases in summer. Scientists have found out a range of black carbon up to a limit which is set up by the scientists, that is 4.62 micrograms per cubic meter. It is not important to remember this exact number, but you have to know that in non-summer months it is just around 2 micrograms. So the takeaway is that it almost doubles in summer season. The period from April to June shows remarkable increase in black carbon because primarily there is activities associated with tourism in this glacier region, because since they have very cold climate, a lot of tourists visit that place as a summer resort. Apart from this, you have also seen recent cases where forest fires are continuously increasing, especially in the Uttarakhand region. According to the Forest Survey of India, the forest fire activity is generally reported in Uttarakhand from February to June, and this peak season is in May and June. That is also one reason for this black carbon issue. What should be done right now? It requires a multi-sectoral intervention. Firstly, India should move towards Bharat Stage 6 emission standards, or even better, should move towards e-vehicles in the longer run. Second one is phasing out diesel vehicles. Third one is use of LPG for cooking. The traditional methods of burning wood for fuel as a source for cooking has been one of the major contributor for pollution in this region. And the last one, which is probably ignored, is in this region you find a lot of bricklins or brick manufacturing units. Even they emit a lot of black carbon. So upgrading the infrastructure in this bricklins also is very important. So these are the measures mentioned in this study. Overall, we have to understand that if we can actually bring down the entire emissions of black carbon, we will be in a position to save our glaciers, which are considered to be the lifeline for our rivers. Without rivers, civilizations have vanished. So it is a warning sign, and containing this black carbon can be of huge importance. That is the gist of this article. One of the biggest problem plaguing the judiciary is pendency of cases. So in order to clear this pending cases, the Supreme Court took a decision. So it is bringing back retired judges as ad hoc judges to clear the pending cases. Even before, in the collegium system, the government was questioned why no decision was taken after the collegium has given certain recommendations for appointments in various high courts, yet there was no decision taken. Therefore, Supreme Court had to take this decision based on Article 224A of the Constitution, which provides for appointment of ad hoc judges in the high courts. So the Chief Justice of India, S.A. Bobde, was also heading a bench, and he made it clear that the challenge of mounting arrears and existing vacancies requires a recourse to this Article 224A. If we take a look at the percentage of cases or number of cases, 57 lakh cases are pending in high courts. There is a vacancy level of nearly 40% of judges. So 5 high courts account for nearly 54% of these cases. One interesting fact here is we generally think that there is a correlation between the number of pending cases and vacancies. But let us take the Madras High Court for example, where the vacancy is just 7%, yet it has nearly 5.4 lakh pending cases. In government's defense, Attorney General said that there were 220 vacancies, but it got only 196 vacancies recommendations. So unless and until the entire list is updated, hence there is a delay in appointment. So what we can safely say is it is not just the problem of center not cooperating. Sometimes even the states have not upgraded their infrastructure. Till now, even after the pandemic has stuck the world, Indian judiciary has not evolved beyond Zoom meetings. It was time and an opportunity to actually utilize this window to upgrade the infrastructure and move towards e-courts. E-courts as a concept is not a new one. It is a pretty old one, but it is in a very nascent stage because of lack of encouragement to this idea. Now with the pandemic coming into the scene, many litigants were forced to move their hearings online, and even the courts have moved online. Taking this idea forward, we have to digitize and upgrade the infrastructure to achieve the speed, scale, and at the same time ensure that justice is delivered on time. That is the gist of this article.